Oh, my fucking throat's so dry right now. What the fuck? Um, this dude killed me. Yep, just got killed again.
Warning. An agent on your team requires aid immediately.
No, 34th Street. We go up to 34th Street, and then east. And then after we hit that checkpoint to reload on ammo, we come west again, and then head down Madison Avenue to the extraction point in the bottom left.
Alright, so I'm Greenhawk. Thanks for joining me, guys. That first bit of footage you saw at the beginning there was from, as you saw, the pre-order beta, and basically what was happening was there were invisible players. It was just a bug. It was a little glitch in the game's development. Players were able to go super fast. They almost seemed invisible. They were able to go through the map, get to places that were locked from the beta, and also places that were just not supposed to be reachable in the first place. I am happy to say that from my time in the Dark Zone and experiencing interactions with other players, random strangers, that it seems that bug has been fixed. It's hard to tell right now whether or not it's going to stay fixed because, as most people who play MMOs and any sort of online MMORPG or any of the sort, you'll know that through the more a game is updated and features are added and changed, occasionally old bugs return, and so it's very possible we might see that come back at some point, but for now it is gone. Now, anyone who knows me personally through my Facebook or, grew up with me, is still a friend, will know that I kind of don't like to sugarcoat things. So we're just going to get straight into the nitty-gritty of the beta. The current footage you're looking at now and from here on out should mostly be from the open beta, the full open beta that took place this past weekend. It was, I believe, 3 days, 4 days actually, and it was 1 day shorter than the pre-order beta. They extended the pre-order beta because of certain bugs where players were losing their content, losing their progression and experiencing the bugs that I just mentioned. First thing I want to talk to you guys about is the cons of this game, things that I feel need to be changed. Starting with, I guess, the rogue features to the Dark Zone and the changes that have been made. In the pre-order beta, if you shot another player who wasn't in your group or on your friends list and did any sort of damage, you were immediately labeled a rogue. That meant if they happened to come running in while you were taking out a large group of hostile NPCs, like you're seeing here, and someone comes running by, you'd go rogue. Unfortunately, not much has changed. It's a little better, and I understand why they did it. With the tweak that they made, you have to cause a specific amount of damage now in order to be considered rogue. So a couple of shots accidentally tagging somebody, not a big deal. But blowing them up accidentally with a frag grenade or a incendiary, flashbangs don't really do much, neither do the smoke grenades, tear gas, but anything that does a high amount of damage, you're immediately going to be labeled rogue. There is a downside to this. The fact that if you're with your group and you're in the Dark Zone, you toss a grenade into a doorway to take out enemies, next thing you know, you're rogue because some random solo player ran through and got hit. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is the fact that um, I think because if you're going to say what's wrong with something, you really should offer some kind of solution. And my solution would be um, another little tweak that to remedy things, I would say instead of having it so that if a random player runs by, it would identify that you are currently engaged with NPCs, and therefore any hostile player-to-player damage would be forgiven. If you're in an NPC fight, you guys can all work together. If you want to start killing each other afterwards, go nuts. That's entirely up to you. But to prevent you from going rogue accidentally, I feel like the game identifying you're currently engaged with NPCs would be a good fix for it. And then you don't have to worry about accidentally going rogue over stupid little features. Um, I do like the idea that they added a tweak that you have to cause a specific amount of damage. The downside is you get douchebags and just trolls who will shoot near you or shoot at you just enough so that you know that you're being shot at. That way you turn around and start shooting at them. So they won't go rogue yet, but in you wanting to defend yourself, you go rogue. Now you're screwed. You got to deal with rogue status. You can't have a friend join your group. You can't have, you can't leave the area. You're labeled to other players. Other players are going to know where you are. You'll ping every once in a while, and everyone can know where you are. And you got to wait for a cooldown. So, unfortunately, that's a thing. More rogue features is that somehow players are finding a way to group up with more than 4 people. I don't know how this is being done. I don't typically partake in glitches and exploits and bugs and things like that, game-breaking features. What I tend to focus on is the actual gameplay, the way the developers meant us to play it. And so, what I'm seeing is players are moving in groups of rogues. Like you'll get 2 4-member parties working together as rogues and just running through the dark zone, just killing everyone. You'll get people who, these same groups, and I witnessed these exact players in the pre-order beta doing this exact same thing. They're higher level dark zone than you. They were 12. That was the max for the beta. They'll wait for you to come through the only entrance to the dark zone and then just gank you. And they'll just kill you. They'll kill you for no reason really, because you just entered the dark zone. Maybe it was your first time. You have no money. You have no credits. So there's really no reason other than griefing. And so the downside with that is, it gets annoying. It's a deterrent. It makes you go, well, fuck it. I'm not going to go into the dark zone. I'm going to limit how much of this game I actually experience, and I'm just going to stick to single player or story mode, which is still a 4-player co-op. And it just steers you away from playing something that's meant to be enjoyed. Now, my remedy for this is that there should be somewhat of a quarantine area, like a safe area before the entrances and exits or checkpoints of the dark zone, not including safe houses, which are in the game and present and fairly scarce, few and far between, but in the actual checkpoints, you'd think the JTF, which is the Joint Task Force, which is the generic military presence in the game, you think that they might set up a checkpoint of some sort, just to stop people from breaking down a door that's apparently only activated by your watch. There's no real way to keep these people from killing you, so they'll just wait for you to come out and then they'll kill you. So you're kind of just sitting there going, well, to hell with it, I'm just not going to go out there, I'm just going to go back to playing story. So that's one way of fixing it, is kind of making it like a weapons free, no weapon available thing, kind of similar how the entering your base and Hudson works, which is the spot where you start off at the beginning of the game. There are these little areas before you're actually inside of a compound where you know you're safe. You don't have to worry about being shot or killed or messed with in any way, really. I experienced a thing where I was standing outside of the dark zone. I was messaging a friend on PSN asking like, why can't we join you? You know, like, are you in a group? Things like that. And there's some bug fixes. There's bugs that need to be fixed with that. But I got killed, and my brother has the footage of me getting killed, him coming down, keeping the guy busy, and then I just respawned at that checkpoint that he walked right out of, and then I kill him and get my stuff back. When you die in the dark zone, your loot is partitioned. You'll half of it will be left open, becomes public loot. Anybody can pick it up and take your shit, and you'll never see it again if you never see them again. The rest of it will be left there for you, but it's usually kind of what most people would consider trash loot. It's gray items, white items, things that are just clothing, things that are just generic nonsense. So that's enough about the rogue stuff. What I want to talk to you guys about next is NPCs. There's an NPC referred to, they're called bruisers, and these are melee attackers. They are melee, or melee, however you want to pronounce it. They come in there with golf clubs, baseball bats. I believe I've seen a crowbar one time. Big old piece of 2x4, I think, as well. Can't be sure, because when they come at you, you want to kill them, obviously. The reason you want to kill these guys as quickly as you can, and headshots are a big thing here with MMO features, is that these guys could take off the majority of your health with one swing in the beta. You had 3 sections to your health bar. They would take off from full 3 sections. They would take off more than just a little under the 2/3, so that you'll be just above that first split in your health bar. And with the game having no melee feature for yourself, I mean, there's no knifing. You can gun butt somebody, but it does like hardly any damage. All you have the option of doing is basically dodge rolling, which, thanks to the game's sticky cover, which in most part works fairly well, you end up possibly just sticking to the cover that you were just against that they can hit you from. What's worse is because it's an MMO, things become more of a soft target with a lot of stuff. Rather than you actually having to aim, you could aim near something and it will kind of just give you the hit. So with enemy NPCs, you do the same thing. You get the same thing happening where I'm far enough away that I should be out of the range of this attack, but because it's an MMO, he hits me and I die. And to me, this just makes it doesn't make any sense. I feel like if you're gonna give us some bruiser, some melee attacker that does a high amount of damage when they hit you, give us a better way of dealing with them besides shooting them in the face. Because of it being an MMO, enemies are bullet sponges. When you're in a group, there's just more enemies, and they're a bigger sponge. They take more shots to take down, and there's more of these guys. You get hordes and hordes of these people, of these enemies. So there needs to be some sort of indicator as well, aside from just above an enemy's head, what they are and what they're about to do. There needs to be another indicator that, like, there's a dude behind you who's about to hit you with a baseball bat, and you already have like a bar of health missing, so he's gonna kill you now. Good luck with that. That needs to be changed. Give us some sort of melee system aside from just gun butting people. It doesn't, like I said, it doesn't do enough damage, and you have to stand up to do this, which means standing up, exposing yourself to all of the other enemies so you can evade a dude with a bat, because that's it. There's no other reason. These bruisers are in there, these melee attackers are in there, and there's not a whole lot you can do aside from just hope you see them or your team sees them fast enough and you're able to put them down fast enough before they can get to you. If you have a suppressor turret or any sort of ability that might draw attention, sure they might run to it, but their priority will still be you. And it's very clear that their priority is still you, which is fine, but give us a better way of dealing with them. Like I said, just a better way of indicating or giving us an actual melee feature where, something gets close to me, I can hit it, push it away even, or, like trip them. Things like that. Give me some sort of, maybe even a QTE where it'll just say, hey, incoming attack from a melee, press X now to dodge it, and it'll, you have a quick second to actually accomplish this. There needs to be some way of dealing with these things aside from, you know, prayer. And the last sort of con that I want to get into as far as the beta was concerned, or both the pre-order beta as well as the open beta, was a problem with the menu and various settings. The menu is, for the most part, fairly streamlined. It doesn't seem like it's meant for consoles. It's something that I can see working on both PC and consoles, and that's good. There's just one section that is flawed, and that is the appearance section. While all of the other sections of the game's menu is very streamlined. I mean, you look at your overview, you look at any of the other sections here, your pouches and all that. It shows everything in nice, neat little classes, and it's very organized, and it's laid out very, very well, very easy to find and read everything. But then you go to the appearance section, and in the appearance section, you have this long, long list. You've got your hats, your jackets, your neckwear, boots, pants, all that. Okay? And you look at it, and it's just a long, long line. And no matter which way you scroll through it, whether it's the D-pad or the thumbsticks, it takes the same length of time. You have to just smash the down on the D-pad to scroll through everything. That is not good. Give me the same thing that you have for my overview. Let me click on, hats, and then it'll show me all my hats. Then I click on it again, it puts it away. I can go and look at jackets now. Click on jackets, it just scrolls through my jackets. Let me make it much more streamlined, make it easier to look at these things, and other than that, I mean, that's pretty much it for cons as far as this game is concerned. Next thing I'm gonna get into is just a lot of the things that I see in the game in general, which are just something that people should know when they're going into the game, and nice little features that I feel make this game seem more like something that people who enjoy games made, people who enjoy storytelling made, people who enjoy pop culture made, um, and so we've dealt with the ugly side of things. I'm just gonna move straight into the more positive stuff, and like I said, just things that you might want to know before heading into the game when it releases. So sticking with um, the settings options here and the menu of the game, there is another little thing that I want to talk about. So there was some good and some bad with the settings. I just told you guys about some of the bad aspects, and I did leave out a few things in my negative feedback on this game, just because they're very minor, they're very small things that I really don't see need to be fixed. And another thing that doesn't need to be fixed in the settings, as far as I'm concerned, is some of the options like hiding your HUD and removing the floating hit markers. So you'll see me shooting an enemy on my gameplay, and you're not going to see these numbers popping up. You're not going to see how much damage I'm doing per shot. That's typically something that you will see in an MMO or RPG, and it's something that I dislike. I'm also not a fan of having a ton of crap all over my screen. You see that it says division beta there. Fine, whatever. You've got my ranks, both Dark Zone and single player rank up in the top right corner there. My local map, as well as who's in my group at the moment. That would be Crimson. Then you've got my HUD. This is showing my health, my skills, grenades I have equipped, ammo I have available, things like that. These are all, great aspects to have in the game, but I really dislike having um, my HUD floating around all the time. So you can actually go into the settings section and hide your HUD. You can also hide the hit indicators, the floating numbers that show up when you shoot something and cause damage. Like I said, I don't like it. I'm also not a big fan of some of the abilities to the scan, and a lot of the perks and abilities actually seem kind of weak, but this is just the beta, and I'm hoping that in the full game, when it releases, we'll be able to do more. We'll be able to increase how useful these things are. So that being said, it's not a super big deal, but I do like that they included the fact you can hide things. Some players don't like stuff all over their screen. Other players, especially big MMO players, love stuff all over their screen for whatever reason. I don't know why. I prefer immersion in gaming. That's just me, though. It'll totally be up to you. The next thing I want to talk to you about are various boost items, I guess you could call them, or I don't know. In other MMOs, you'd get a potion or something, and it would give you like plus 25 critical damage, for the next 30 seconds. So this game also has boost items in the form of ammo and snacks. Um, you'll see that you can choose, and they all have various stats to them and duration, things like that. Your ammo as well. Um, there are, I think it's like 8 or something, and they have their purpose. I don't use them that much. I don't use the snacks that much. I would prefer to rely on just my own ability, but the option's there if you choose to utilize it. Same with ammo. You get incendiary ammo. You get, I think there's even shock ammo. I'm not sure though. There are all different types of ammos that you can get. Explosive ammo, and these last for a short period of time, and then you have to reselect it, and so on. You find these by just random enemy drops. It's just random drops that show up from killing an enemy. You'll find them in crates, houses, cupboards, uh, all over the place. They're really easy to find, really easy to equip. You just use the D-pad and select it through the wheel. Something that is worth noting though, and this is something that you should know when you start the game, is that there are civilians that are going to ask for your help. They're labeled as a civilian in need. Your HUD will target them, identify that they're a civilian in need, and they'll ask for something, be it water, energy bar, medical kit, things like that. They'll ask for these things that do give you boosts, and obviously medical kits are important in general. They heal you. When you give an NPC, a civilian in need, one of these items, they will drop some sort of reward. They'll give you something in return. Could be some junk pistol. Could be a really good pistol. Could be a good scope or mod for your gun. Could be weapon tint, for all you know. In most cases, it seems to be clothing. Um, you get a lot of jackets, jeans, gloves even. You'll get hats, scarves, shoes, all those things.
Yeah.
All of your appearance items can be found by
Foliage.
talking to a civilian in need and giving them something that and you prefer to use these items for their boosting capabilities, then don't bother helping citizens in need. Um, because I mentioned that the appearance list is just a long list, and you have to scroll through everything. If you pick something up, to my knowledge, you cannot remove clothing from your inventory and put it in your stash. Um, you have to keep it on you. So if you give a civilian something, most of the time you're probably going to be inclined to pick up whatever it is they give you because you just kind of thrown something away otherwise. And if you're fine with just throwing stuff away, go ahead. But it might be a good idea to pick up the majority of it. You also don't know what various clothing items are going to look like until you put them on, and you can only put them on if you pick them up. And if you pick them up, like I said, they're here to stay. And it just fills up your appearance list with clutter. A bunch of crap that you might not want. You cannot deconstruct clothing items either. So anything that goes in your appearance section, you can't deconstruct for crafting, which hasn't been released in the beta. I don't know a whole lot about. It seems pretty straightforward from what I've seen as far as the PC betas that were discussed, as they got to experience more by playing over at Ubisoft. Um, you can't deconstruct clothing items, appearance items. So, like I said, once it's there to stay. Something that's worth keeping in mind. The other thing to note as far as all of this goes is that your stash is shared amongst your entire account. You can have up to 4 characters on your account, and anything you put in your stash you can access from your other character slots, one of your other 4 character slots. So if you find something, a weapon, a mod that you feel might be more suited for one of your other characters, you can toss it in there. Unfortunately, like I said, clothing is not one of those things. So that's pretty much all I really have to say about the game as far as pros and cons, things that I've noticed, and things that you might want to know. Bottom line here is that the game does play really well. It's very smooth. It's very pretty. There's some very good lighting and weather details that happen. Sure, it's not quite what we saw at its original E3 demo years ago, and there was this big fiasco of the whole Watch Dogs situation, very similar situation. Everyone was worried, oh, it's going to be just like Watch Dogs. That's not the case here. This is a very well done game. It's been put together very well. And just another little side note, just before I end this, is that the game seems to have been made by people who enjoy things, who just are fun. It seems like it was made by a fun group of people who wanted to have fun and wanted to provide fun for people. An example that I feel proves this is that there are pop culture references, and if you like that stuff, cool. I'm one of those people who likes that stuff. If you don't like that stuff, I don't think that it's going to be all over the place in this game. There is a reference in the demo, or the beta here, that it's a reference to Shaun of the Dead. And actually all of the movies done by, technically all of them done by Nick Frost, Simon Pegg, and Edgar Wright, it's the whole fence jumping thing. And I'll just let you guys watch that.
Found us! We're so dead!
Quick, through here.
What? Over fences?
What's the matter, Deborah? Never taken a shortcut before?
So, like I said, that is a reference to Shaun of the Dead. His name was Sean Peckham, I believe. He said he was a professional slacker, failed high school phys ed. Obvious reference there. I love that. I think that's amazing. I think it's funny. And I'm hoping that there's more of those in the game. And if there is, I mean, like I said, I think it's a good thing. It shows that the developers were having fun with their game, and I think that that's important. Other than that, pretty much wraps up my overall opinions and impressions of the game. I've had nothing but good experiences with this open beta. It was only the or pre-order beta where I actually encountered issues, things that were kind of annoying, like other players cheating the system, sort of. But that's what the point two betas are. And I guess all in all, I'd have to say that if you like MMOs, if you like RPGs, if you like shooter games, you like anything Ubisoft, um, go ahead, give this a game a try when it comes out. Maybe find a friend who has it. Maybe, you know, do some share play, watch some streams of it. Some of your favorite YouTubers, maybe, or just come check out my channel again. I'm gonna be uploading a ton of stuff, including a full impressions and review of the game when it actually releases. Now, I wanted to leave on a positive note, talking about, you know, awesome little pop culture references and that the game is great, which it totally is. But I do want to state that I have concerns with this being a Ubisoft or Ubisoft, however you pronounce it. It's supposed to be pronounced. I have no clue. I just say Ubisoft. With it being a Ubisoft game and a Tom Clancy's game as well, and with mainstream gaming becoming more basic than previous generations of gaming, my concerns are that it's going to become less about the fun, less about the storytelling, less about environments and gameplay, and more about money. And if it does, the Division 2 will release very soon, I can imagine. I'd say probably within a year or two, um, 3 years tops. Either way, I see us getting a second Division, and depending on how the story ends in this one, it could be good, it could make sense, could be fun, or if the story ends on a logical note, we could end up with a game that just feels like a cash grab. It'll become a franchise, just like they did with Assassin's Creed, and eventually you're going to see a watered down shadow of its former self. And that is my concern for the game. But other than that, I really don't have a whole lot of bad things to say about the game. I've pre-ordered it so I could get the beta. I'm excited about it, and I can't wait to show more and experience more of the world of, you know, apocalyptic Manhattan. So, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you liked it. Hope you subscribe, thumbs it up, share with your friends, and let me know how I did. Feel free to post in the comment section below. And thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.
Why we gotta stand out here in the cold while you get first dibs?
Fuck, it is cold. Just shut up and watch the alley.